My name is Philline Donggay. I come from Greenergy Solar, which is the first commercial solar service provider in Mindanao. For us, we have made it our brand purpose to build the clean energy future of Mindanao and the Philippines. But why Mindanao, no? And this is related to my topic of the talk today. Mindanao has the lowest electricity access in the country, and the grid infrastructure is limited, it's underdeveloped, and there's also a growing resentment of dirty energy alternatives sent to the region. I'll explain this a bit further. Household electricity access. Although the Philippines, among the ASEAN countries, has one of the highest electricity rates, access rates, which can go as high as 98%. For example, in Manila, the capital region, NCR, the remote regions are still lagging behind, and this is from 2019 study of the Asian Development Bank Institute. The access rate is only 40.9%. So what does this mean? There are so much more households in Mindanao that don't have modern energy services. The grid infrastructure is limited. Kanina, si Attorney Jay was saying that we must build infrastructure to send the power, not off-grid areas. But according to the ADBI, maybe there is a different way of approaching energy access for off-grid areas, especially in Mindanao. Kasi, as Attorney Jay was saying, masyadong mahal for most of the investors to spend for sending power to areas which might not be able to afford it. But that doesn't mean that they don't deserve modern energy services. So baka kailangan natin mag-isip ng ibang pamamaraan. Tama ba yung Tagalog ko? I'm Bisaya pala. So yes, I'm indigenous Mindanaoan. I'm quoting myself here, but I really, kanina when we had that game, I realized I knew so much of the energy terminologies, but that's not because I'm an energy engineer, but I grew up around energy engineers and really spent like my entire childhood living around power plants. And I understood as a Mindanaoan that we used to be the leader in renewable energy power generation in the Philippines. So at least among the people like me, there was pride in that, and we want to take back that pride to be a renewable energy leader. But don't take my word for it, kasi pati yung Mindanao Development Authority, which is the government agency tasked to look at Mindanao's development, they're also really pushing for RE, which over the years they have done already. But yeah, it's a good timing then ngayon with the current government pushing for RE. So yeah, Minda has been an RE advocate for a long time. So what are we trying to do in Mindanao? We're promoting distributed, decentralized, and democratized energy systems. So this is to mean that we don't have to necessarily rely on large utility scale power plants, centralized power plants, and we're looking to have the option for people to have democratized systems which they own. So they generate their own power, they're producing their own consumption for electricity. So, and that is something that we're trying to do with clean energy technology. That is also, of course, in support of the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly SDG 7, which means affordable and clean energy for all, for everyone. So that means we have to look at those people who don't have modern energy services in their homes. So yeah, from our perspective, we have been empowering communities with renewable energy with these three main partners. No, we have partnered with local government and also the local counterpart of the DSWD and also the state-owned development banks like the Development Bank of the Philippines and Land Bank. We've also done work with nonprofits and international development organizations and CSOs. And we've done our little experimenting with social media influencer marketing and crowdfunding for to empower communities with RE. This one example I want to share is about a barangay called Sapu Masla in Sarangani. So this is primarily a indigenous Blaan community. So they have no electricity connection. They're an off-grid area. So these were some of the people who benefited from this project. So we were able to provide solar rooftop systems with lights and also charging battery charger for key gadgets like phones, for example, or radios. So ganyan. And we also provided training for operation and maintenance. Ako, before becoming an entrepreneur, I was in development. I was working in development, no, and what we saw when it comes to like novel technologies, at least at the time, solar, was that people did not understand how it worked, and when it stopped working, they didn't know how to do, troubleshooting, and they sold the parts for the materials and parts for scrap. So ayaw natin mangyari yon. Kailangan natin ma-impart din yung idea on how the system works and how they can do their troubleshooting. So ganyan yung mga nangyari. So this is in Sarangani province in southern Mindanao. And ang kwento dito was that our team had to hike the entire day on foot just to reach this area. Tapos nung nag-light up na daw nung gabi, pumalakpak lahat ng mga tao sa community. So these are small joys that we get from such projects like these, no? Kasi syempre to them, to us living in the city, when you flip a switch, sanay tayo, there's lights on, diba? Pero sila kailangan maglampara, kailangan maglight ng fire, just to for the kids to be able to study at night, if at all. So that's the story of that barangay. But we're also not just doing household, providing electricity for households. We're also doing solar-powered street lights. So in areas, off-grid areas na walang kuryente, walang connection to the electricity grid, we've been providing solar-powered street lights for to make their streets feel safer. There's lights na where there never used to be. But we're also not doing solar street lamps only in off-grid areas. We've been finding that a lot of local government units have also been demanding or asking for solar street lights because they don't want to pay for electricity for street lights. So yun yung nakikita naming demand. On top of that, we've also worked with several state banks for solar-powered irrigation systems. So this was in the hinterlands of Bukidnon, where yung kwento nito, when you translate it to English, they would bring water up by hand. Pero actually, yung ibig niya sabihin is, pag drought season or pag walang ulan, by buckets yung padala nila ng tubig para ma-water yung kanilang agricultural plot. So ngayon, at least meron na silang solar-powered irrigation system which can take the water to their area. So magandang mga kwento to. And by the way, if you want to check out these stories, we have videos of this on YouTube. So ito naman, this was also a project in the BARM. I'll let it run for a bit.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Special itong space dahil yung biggest na space na maipapatayo sa BARM, special sa Nanao din. So, itong area mismo is, ito yung area na kinakailangan talaga nila ma-reach out ng BARM kasi ito yung palaging nauumit na mga area. So, ang ginawa ng ating
So yeah, I'll stop there. But yung sinabi ni Sir na laging na-omit. Actually, sobrang dami sa Mindanao laging na-omit when it comes to development initiatives. Kaya may mga ganito tayong when we have a chance to get onto projects like this, we immediately do so kasi we're helping marginalized regions get access to modern energy services, and that's always a good thing for development, inclusive development in the Philippines. So I also mentioned that we've been working with non-profits and CSOs, international development. I'll just give one example of this. After the siege in Marawi, we did a project with an international aid agency. I'll let it run also for a bit.
Sauna po ang energy namin dito. Tapos mula nung nawala na yung dito. Nagbalik lang nung umalis kami dito. Tapos minsan wala yung
So yung kwento dito, sorry, balik ko sandali. Yung kwento dito is that Marawi is obviously not off-grid, no? But the communities which was served by the distribution utilities, their electricity after the siege was intermittent at best. So laging nagba-brown out, laging walang kuryente. And what happened there was that we did the work with health centers that were meant for women and children to give electricity to their rooftops, and then through solar rooftops, and then they were able to preserve their medicines, and then even provide electric fans for the people who were lining up with their crying baby. So malaking tulong na rin yun. Yeah, I couldn't run that video. That's quite long, but yeah, it's in our YouTube channel. And so we were also experimenting with social media influencer marketing because just, coming from the fact that we Filipinos are quite huge on social media use. And we did this campaign called Lifting Lives Out of Energy Poverty, and we used micro influencers to bring awareness about energy poverty that still persists in Mindanao. And we tap these people from in and around Mindanao to do that. And a lot of them were actually also surprised that meron po palang ganong areas sa Pilipinas, and just 10 kilometers away, for example, where I was born in Cagayan de Oro, may areas na wala pa rin kuryente. And yeah, we've also been doing crowdfunding. This was our latest outreach in Bukidnon. This school had no electricity prior to us going there, and the donation was raised through crowdfunding. There were several people who wanted to donate, and we made sure that this donation reached the communities, and we were able to serve a community of Higaunon, indigenous peoples of 16 households, and then their school, the elementary school. So this we did just last December, and we're continuing to accommodate these requests. So yeah, I'm down to my last slide, just to say that access to modern energy services should be a basic human right, and this is where the value that we we are coming from and we're thinking about when we do community access, energy access work. Many of the SDGs are anchored on it, from quality education to gender equality and decent work. So with advances in solar photovoltaic technology and also energy storage, like the batteries that we saw in my earlier photos, so energy poverty now has a real and practical solutions, and this has co-benefits in climate resilience and energy independence. We saw after the typhoon in Siargao last year, in the early last year, that those regions, those sections of the island where we installed solar street lights meron pa rin silang ilaw even after the storm, no? So that's adaptation and resilience for you, for a country such as ours, na very climate vulnerable. So in the region of Mindanao, which we serve, this is what we aim to achieve. And yeah.